Hi guys, Garage RC here, back on another video. So today's video is all about why I love my MA030. Over the last few videos I've ventured into the MA020, I've started an MR03 Evo series, and a lot of you guys have been quite appreciative that I still go back to my Mini Zs despite having all these other cars that I run, like the GLA, my XRX, GLD, all these other cars I have. Yeah, I still have time for these videos, and it's because I still love the cars. I pretty much do love all the mini RC cars out there, and there's always something I do or don't like about any of them, whether it's something about the build, the design. There's always something I appreciate. And the Mini Zs, the one thing I appreciate is the simplicity of being able to just pick up a car that takes AAA batteries, turn your transmitter on, and off you go. And with the AA batteries, it's easy to have a set charged up, or or have them in a car ready to go. You just turn the car on, off you go, and start drifting around the kitchen, and you can just have a relaxing play around at any time. And unlike with the LiPo batteries, you have to balance charge and plug them in. There is a bit of a faff involved, but if you just fancy picking up a car, the Mini Z is perfect. And this video is called Why I Love the MA030 Evo, and the reason is it's pretty versatile. I've said it before, I think when you compare it to something like a GLA, which is designed race bred, it's not going to hold up quite the same, but for what it is, it's absolutely amazing. And some of the things, for example, there's not many other cars you can get in the same kit where you can change it from a 98mm racer like this is set up here, a wide 98mm racer. It's been set up in wide mode here with the wider front plate on and the wider wishbones on the DWS at the back. And not only that, that you can do that, you can also make it into a drift car which drifts beautifully. And this is just a standard spec MA030 Evo with a 94mm Golf R32 body on it, narrow tyres all around, and it drifts beautifully, absolutely beautifully. It's got a gyro, but even with the gyro turned down minimally, it still drifts pretty well. You can turn the gyro off and it drifts nicely. And it's just a well-balanced car. Now, it gets some stick because of the high motor mount position at the front, and that does limit some of the bodies that will fit on there. My Corvette body will not go anywhere near this. My Mercedes AMG body will not fit on this. Even my R33 Skyline, I'd have to change the motor mount or do something, but despite that, you can get a lot of bodies on this car, and it's a lot of fun. And certainly I've had a lot of fun just practicing, or if I fancy just tuning something, it's very easy to pick up and use, and that's why it's good for a lot of people out there. And I almost recommend that if you're going to get a Mini Z, if you're going to invest in one, you're almost better off getting an Evo if you're not too bothered about the 90mm shells, because it's brushless off right from the start, and you don't really need to upgrade it that much. With an MA020, you end up getting a lot of upgrades, but there's a ceiling to how far it will go unless you're prepared to change your radio, the board and the ESC, like I did in the last video with the converting the MA020 to a brushless Evo board. It takes a bit of work. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but if you're not of that mind and you don't fancy doing a lot of soldering, then an Evo all-wheel drive is a good versatile all-round car because of the things you can do with it. You can drift, you can race, and it's easy to tune up. Relatively pretty good out the box. Okay, as you know guys, I've done an unboxing video on these before, and what you get out of the box is pretty much just this. You don't get a mount here, obviously, that's for the body. You just get a chassis, so you need wheels, you need a chip to actually, so this transmitter chip that goes here. A few of you guys in the comments have gone out and bought cars and then realized you can't actually change the chip on them, the receiver chip. Only the Evo range of Mini Z cars have chips that you can change. These are the only ones that you can change the receiver chip, which allows you to use one of 4 transmitters, or 4 brands of transmitters: kyosho, EX6R or KT18, or you got the synchro chip, the white one, which basically you can use a synchro touch with, or the standard Mini Z MA020 all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive transmitter. I can't remember what it's called now, KT544P32 or something. That one, PT432, 5432. Anyway, I'll put it up on the screen. But yeah, and then you can use an MB4 chip, which has a yellow antenna for the MB4 transmitter, Fly Sky, Nobel. And you've got the Futaba one with the orange antenna for the TP4. So it's only the Evo, the all-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive. The rear-wheel drive was in the last video, which I'll put a link up to in the corner. And that's the one where I compare the Evo and the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive Evos just for fun. So yeah, there's a lot of things here that we can do with these cars, which you can't do with a standard Mini Z. So please remember that when you're looking to buy a Mini Z, if you've got your heart set on an MB4 Fly Sky transmitter, don't get an MA020 or MR03. You will not be able to change it. Not unless you do what I did in my video, where you're prepared to resolder and change things and swap the board. Videos. But I'm going to unbox a car that you wouldn't expect me to unbox. So this is a front wheel drive series. I think it's a Mazda Demio. Let me get the ticket for it there. The backs. Mazdademia Xd Touring. Okay, this is a 98mm shell. Even though it doesn't look it when you look at it in the box, it doesn't look like it's that big. But the wheelbase is actually 98mm. And what inspired me to get this is, again, I'll refer to the drift channel, Drift 44. So the reason I'm trying this shell is because I've seen Drift 44 use it in his videos, and he seems to like the balance of it for his drift tricks that he does and skill videos. So I thought I would give it a go, and I would try it on my MA030 Evo just like he does. For the purpose of this video, we're going to use some LF5 drift tyres. I wanted to use the new Toyo ones I have, but I've only got those in narrow and wide. But I'm going to use this opportunity to actually show how to install these wheels. So here we are. I'm going to show you how I install them. So these are narrow all around. I'm going to move the Evo out the way for a second. Pop the wheels off. The tyres that come with these are pretty useless really. I think they're okay for an all-wheel drive car if you just want to run it around your kitchen. But on any kind of circuit, the grip is awful. On the RCP, it's actually horrendous. Right, so we're going to get the tyres off. Okay, let's get everything in screen. And there's two ways you can put these tyres wheels on. But yeah, especially if you're not using hot water or something to warm them up first, you have to be very precise. Now, it is hit and miss on the type of wheels and whether the drift tyres go on easily or not, because sometimes they'll just pop on and other times you end up having to force them on with hot water to warm them up first. So let's see how easy these are. So you should align them up so they're fairly straight and then push them down equally. Now that's unequal. Can you see that? Unequal. If you try and force it down there, it's just going to jam. So you almost want to ease it back a little bit. Let's keep this in camera. And then when it's equal, then you put the pressure on. So you may want to go around each side. These were quite easy actually. That was easy. But some are harder and requires, but you've got to back it off if it's jamming. Don't just keep forcing it through and hope it's going to be okay. End of the day, these are plastic wheels and you're just going to trim something or break something. Okay, so that's another one on. So these are all the same offset. A bit too close here, let's get a bit further back. I used to be absolutely insistent on having wide rear and narrow front for nearly all my setups. And it was only after seeing the V Pro Toyota AE86 with narrow tyres all around fly around my RCP track with drift tyres on that I started to appreciate that sometimes having narrow rears is actually beneficial. I think I just did it because you imagine wide rear wheels look better and they also would give you better straight line power. But that depends on the size of your track, as I always say. If it's a smaller track with lots of corners, you want to be able to get around the corners quick. Not as concerned with powering down the straight. Although I wouldn't run rubber tyres with narrow rears. I don't think I've got any cars that would have that set up. Okay guys, so we nearly got these on. I'm going to switch the body mount over and then we'll see how this looks. Oh, it has got light buckets. Very good, very good. Okay, I think I will be installing some lights in this car. Now, do I need to take off the rear mount? I think I will have to take that off. That's so I don't lose them. I've got so many of these chassis to try and keep everything together. Okay, let's try that again now. Lovely. Right. That looks pretty neat. Okay guys, so I'm not quite done there. I'm going to do a little bit more pimping of this car to make it look a bit more street, and then we'll take it on a little spin. I want to show you its skills for the drifting. As you can see guys, I've put some decals on the car. We'll have a video coming out about this soon. So first off, remember this is a 98mm chassis, not 90. And what I can report straight away is it behaves like a 90mm chassis. You can actually really turn it in sharp. It is really manoeuvrable, and then I think that's in part to the narrow tyres all around, in part to the shape of the body. As we always say, these bodies do make a difference depending on the actual shape and spread of the body weight itself. Here you can see me drifting sideways and counter steering out of the slide. In this particular instance, remember this car is a standard Ma030 Evo. I have not upgraded the diffs. These are the standard diffs out of the box. Literally, I've installed the gyro and I've put the body shell on and off we go. Here I'm using my Synchro Touch, but these cars handle pretty nice with all the Kyosho transmitters, and it's one of those where it'll come down to personal preference and cost. But you can use an MB4 with these as well, but I have to buy the correct receiver chip. So again, here the control is absolutely amazing. I will say this car did take me a little bit longer to understand the feel of it, because it was a bit more twitchy in this setup, and I can understand now why Drift 44 uses this car. It's very manoeuvrable. It does virtually spin on the spot if you want it to. It can easily counter steer out of situations, and you can control the slide. It just requires a little bit more finesse, but the setup is beautiful, and I have to say I'm really amazed at how much difference it makes just changing the bodies on these cars. I always say it, but you imagine it's only plastic, how much difference can it be? It does make a difference. Even the height of the body, I think it makes a difference when it comes to drifting them. You can see me dancing the car around here on the work surface. I did have a few hairy moments. This is the first time ever I've actually put some chairs behind to catch the car in case it falls off, literally because it was a completely different feel to the previous setups, even though all the diffs are the same. But yeah, normally I can't get a all-wheel drive to handle as sharply on the tabletop here, but with this setup it was pretty easy. Normally only my rear-wheel drives I feel super comfortable doing this kind of fast drifting around and doing figure of eights and sliding sideways across the far end. But yeah guys, the car is great. If you like what I do here on the channel, please leave a like for the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'll keep making more videos for whichever cars you guys ask for, and I'll see you guys all next time in the next video.